So anyway, the auction started, and I stepped right up and started bidding in front of everybody, and I told the auctioneer, yeah, I have a number, this, that, and the other, and we're prepared to write a check at the end of the auction and pay for the cars. He says, okay, because he would collect the money and then pay the tow company our share. So I started bidding, and a couple of other guys said, what are you bidding for? You trying to run the price up? I said, I'm not being a shill. I'm not trying to run the price up. I'm bidding for the car. And so he sold me a few cars. And it was about 10 or 15 cars. And Nick was down there with me, my son Nick. And he had come to almost every auction we had at the tow company. We had 3 a week. And he was my backup auctioneer. He knew how to auction. He knew how to bid. He knew what was going on. He's very aware, very particular. And so the auction's going, and these two guys from other wrecking yards came up and said, that's unfair. I said, what do you mean it's unfair? And he says, well, you can't bid against it. I said, listen, right now we're bidding against cars that I just told that the police have. I'm bidding, I will pay the money, there's no law against it. Well, that's not fair, that's not right. And they started pushing me a little bit, making a little, and being a police auction, there was 3 or 4 uniformed policemen there. And pretty soon there was a ring of guys around me, and they were giving me a hard time. And the police said, what's going on? And I said, these guys don't want me to bid for the cars. This is a public auction. We reserve, and I represent the tow company, and I will pay for the cars at the end of the auction, or I'll pay as you go, it doesn't matter. But I want to bid for the cars because I'm going to take them to the shredder. And so the police went and talked to his sergeant, and then he came back. Meanwhile, all these guys were kind of rah, rah, rah. It was kind of there was no real physical stuff, but it was pushing and shoving type of thing. Meanwhile, the auction was going on, and Nick was buying all the cars lower than we would have bought them before, because these guys were the bidders, and Nick was buying all the cars at a lower price. He just saw what was going on, just kept bidding, and the auctioneer kept selling the cars. And so when they went back, they realized what was going on. They lost about 20 or 30 cars to bid on while they made the big hubbub. And then it turned out that I could bid anyway. And so at the end of the auction, we ended up paying like $13,000 for the cars that we bought. And one guy that came from that had his own, the pull you part guy went over and says, okay, I see what you did. I'll tell you what, I'll buy all the, and I told him, I said, you have to go at least $125 for the cars, and then I'll sell them to you. But I'm not going to take a bid under $125 because I know I can get that. And so he says, okay, I'll buy all the cars that you bought for $175 each. And I said, no, it's too late. They've already been sold. I can't do that. I'm going to have to take them to the shredder. I thought I was being polite, coming and telling you what was going on and my reasoning, and you just have to step up and bid. He says, well, the owner, he used to buy them really cheap too. And I said, yeah, that was his brother up there in the back. I saw him there today. He didn't buy any cars, did he? No. And so I said, well, just so you know, I want to be up front and fair with you, and you're welcome to come and bid, this, that, and the other. But that's how it is. And so we ended up taking those cars to the shredder, and we made money on every car that we bought. We didn't lose money on any of them. And the CEO of the company kind of liked that we'd raised the price per car. And the next auction they had, guess what? It was a real auction. They really bid against each other. They didn't all get together and stuff because they knew I was right there, and they figured I knew what was going on. So we increased the price per car. We took it up about $100, maybe $150 for all the cars every time we had an auction. So it was a fun time, and I really appreciated Nick. I gave him $100 for doing. Normally I didn't pay him; he'd work for free, but he was just a kid. But so they didn't suspect him at all. But it turned out okay.